Well, I'd like to get back into making instruments again. I haven't done a bit for a few decades, and I want to continue with this idea of the bicycle and the violin. I want to put a bike on the violin. So in comes Paul and says, "Oh, that's a great idea. Maybe I can help with the mechanics."
See now, and that's when I bend it like that, it puts the bend out there, so I'm going to have to straighten that bend a bit. Yeah, John and I met each other through a mutual friend who's a classical violin maker in Australia, Harry Bertilliotis. And it's interesting to sort of to look at a very conventional instrument like the violin, and the amount of thought and process that goes into making that instrument, and the amount of folklore that it creates around it. And so to understand that in its higher level, and then to turn around and try to put the same sort of thing into a bent bit of wire on a bicycle, it doesn't sound like it should be in the same. But the difference is one's a permanent thing and one's more of an experiment and an interest.
If the wheel that drives the violin goes too fast, there's no traction, so it's got to be slowed down through gearing system. So Paul went off, and I thought, oh, what a nice guy kind of thing, but I didn't expect anything much to happen. But next time we happened to be there by chance, about a month later, in walks Paul with a mechanism all ready to try out on a bicycle.
I wanted to calculate what the speed of a bow would be over the strings normally.
Yeah.
So what I did is I just said, well, at normal cycling speed, which most people are going to be doing about 10 kilometres an hour.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
so at 10 kilometres an hour, I wanted a peripheral speed here, which would give me the bow speed. So that's what I did.
We want to identify sound which has something to do with the bike. So either the bike mechanically is actually making that sound, or we're mounting electronics or some kinds of devices on the bike which seem to fit it in scale. Before we've worked with about 15, 20 bikes. Well, it's going to be 80 to 100 this time. So trying to motivate a lot of people here, people who are involved with bikes or people who are involved with music or experimental music and want to try to do something. As we've seen, it's an amazing place to do this. So it's an opportunity. They don't come up very often, and the idea has been spinning in the wind for 2 or 3 years now, and now we come to do it. So time to get your hands dirty and keep cutting your fingers and stuff. So it's basically an inside and an outside kind of performance, and which could be interesting. Clearly because of the weather, at least. So we're going to have between 80 and 100 bikes racked up, ready to go under there. Sort of ready to go anyway. And working through it with a time chart. People will come out and join the track and go in there and out there and around the whole of this area. So the entire car park will also be included in the track. We did bike around it, and it's about a minute to kind of cycle around it leisurely, so it's a serious track. If you're working with a new bike, it's actually boring. The thing has got no history. I mean, all of these have got stories to tell. If you could actually sort of get the previous owners of all these different bikes to tell their stories, there'd be a whole film, there'd be a book there.
Most bikes, they have a pretty tired life. They get a few weeks of extra use, then they go and sit in the corner of the garage or something like that, and people don't wear them out. They usually just get fatigued and old. Waiter, would you tell the piano player to
Turn down. Turn up. Turn up the piano.
On the street with you.
So if you take it out, come on.
Discovering that technology's moved on since I last bought a soldering iron. And Dan's about to show me how his battery one goes together.
People in Gungahlin
Yeah,
say
so-
that the road wasn't the king in Gungahlin.
Just like that?
Yeah, yeah, you got it.
You can get spoke cards, yeah. Yeah, it's a playing card and a...
Sometimes the pizza doesn't work that well. I just go grab a box of matches.
Jimmy James! G'day, mate. Want to hear that horn, baby? Oh, it's not hooked up. Sorry, bro.
I got it laid out.
That's right near the end. I reckon you should be up the front.
Oh, okay.
Make some noise. Thank you very much. That's brilliant. Outstanding. Yeah, really bloody great.
How are you feeling now?
Oh, good. It's all going quite well, isn't it? The audience are appreciating it. The riders are enjoying it. It's a great night. Couldn't have asked for a better night for it. Yesterday it was like the opposite, but nice and still, so the sounds travel. I mean, the actual team produces enough excitement to infect everybody else.
How to make music with a bike, who knew you could do it this way? It's really just incredible. Somebody picked my bike up. It sounds like a Harley Davidson.
Worked out really well, and we sort of came in almost on schedule. The sound was really fantastic all the time. And the smoke machine building up in the hangar is actually giving it a really amazing ambience when you ride through in the last minute, and it's sort of like coming into a weird, I don't know, surreal space.
And did you get down the back corner there, around the back, and the excitement of the young kids? I mean, the kids are fabulous, weren't they? They really got into it. I mean, all the high fives as you're riding around the track. And that's what it's really there for, the energy from them when they came around before the performance. They were actually wanting to investigate, see what was going on, and that's the point of it. You want to inspire them, give them something to think about. And it's not just a matter of going home and looking at something on television. You've got to actually create the items that are going to be there. Otherwise it'd be just a white wall to look at, wouldn't it? So that's what this project's about. Involvement, people doing something which is quite out of the ordinary, and yes, you can have fun out of the ordinary.